Enchante, mon amours. I hope everybody is doing well. Hope y'all are feeling frisky. Ooh, oh my goodness. You won't believe our first card out. We're here for our weekly romance oracle and tarot message, and our first card is true love. This could be the romance of a lifetime. So our overall themes recently for the collective have been to cool our jets, because we've been feeling really antsy. We want everything that we want it now. We want it now. And we've been waiting long enough, and we're getting impatient, we're getting excited, and we're feeling the anticipation of this next level. The warning has been both in love and career, or your creative goals or whatever, however that fits into the spectrum of the things that we do as human beings to get by and show up. And so there might be a plethora of opportunities and options coming in both realms. And so generally, when we become magnetic and we up level, it increases our magnetism, and it's not like differentiating to other people how attractive we are. Yes, we will be repellent to those who are completely, dissonant to us. But for the most part, we're just generally more attractive to, all kinds of things, to life in general, right? It might be to just having a lucky chance at having a line open up at a grocery store, something like that. You just start catching this charmed wave. And so there's a lot of opportunities coming in. Imagine the front porch light in the summer when all the bugs are swarming around it. It's just they're drawn to the bright light. You can't attract only beautiful Luna moths and graceful things. it's just there's everything. It's like June bugs, and you gotta run and try to unlock the door really fast before they get all in your hair. And yeah, so we can't, we have to learn to discern and distinguish and be our own gatekeeper there. So the challenge is going to be, having come out of a death and rebirth, and maybe even periods of stagnancy and all kinds of upheaval. It's we're really antsy for some fun and a good time, and for just happier days. And so the challenge will be to practice self-control and not sort of fall into the first things that show up, because a bunch of things are going to show up, opportunities and ideas and people and options and suitors and all kinds of things. And we're going to have to weigh out the real criteria with rigorous self-honesty, learn, don't forget everything we've gone through the past 16 years to arrive at this moment where we actually get to curate the next chapter, right? So don't rush these choices. So we need to take our time. We need to explore these options and find out layered information about them before we jump all in, right? This can range from anything from your next relationship to where you decide to build your website. So all of these things have different logistics and value points. And so you have to figure out what it is exactly that you want and what's really compatible for your needs and your goals, no matter what you're thinking about. And so the thing with love and romance is that you also have the enticement of attraction and novelty and things thrown in. So it's really hard to overcome chemistry and be emotionally sober enough to really look at what you've got and say, okay, are there the core is the core compatibility, the pillars of core compatibility, are they there, right? And if you want to know more about the pillars of core compatibility, probably search that with Matthew Hussey's name. But this is a principle that he talks about in his new book, Love Life. that, you know, he breaks down, okay, what are the basics that two people need to even have a chance at a long-term relationship working. And one is that both are equally enthusiastic about having the same relationship goals and the same relationship goals that include one another. Because somebody can also want the same things that you want, but they may not want them with you. So, okay. This other card was just sitting next to the pile, so it pulled itself. Ooh, codependency. Yes. So also checking in this time around, knowing where we tend to be codependent. It's not like we ever fully, you know, are out of the woods with these things. We're human beings. We need other people. We are emotional. We're not perfect. We're vulnerable. We don't need to be perfect. We just need to be self-aware enough to not ruin everything. So try not to work against yourself. Margarita Nazarenko is an influencer for feminine energy, but she put out a really great video this week about ways that we sabotage ourselves in relationships, and it's really more dedicated towards the ways that women might sabotage a relationship. So it's more relevant to women if you're interested. But you can check out her channel. It'll be one of the most probably the most recent video if you're looking at it in, like, this is the first week of November 2024 if you're seeing this right now or later or in the future. Or in the past. Oh my God. Da, da, da. So addictions are affecting your romantic life. The first thing that just came to mind was another coach about relationships. And he was saying, what are some reasons why you haven't met your life partner, your soulmate, your wife, husband, what have you? And one of the things, a couple of the reasons were, like, there's still something big that you have to do, that you're destined to do, and you wouldn't do it if you were in the comfort of a relationship. Another is that you haven't come to terms with, like, addictions or dependencies or codependency. You haven't learned to be on your own, and stand on your own 2 feet and meet your own needs emotionally before you go into another relationship. Otherwise, if you try to escape your problems going from one relationship thinking that it's the relationship and that it'll be better with the next person, it's not necessarily the case. If you haven't corrected these things within yourself and done that work, then it's still following you in your soul's contracts. The Hebrew term is tikkun. This is your soul's correction. It's your assignments in each life. So if you don't complete that assignment, it's just gonna be waiting for you in the next relationship as soon as the honeymoon phase is over. So you might as well, like, deal with these things. And so make peace if you are single now, which it feels like this is a dedicated to singles video. If you're single right now, find the real enjoyment of being single before this phase is over. It's nothing lasts forever, right? And so it's like, appreciate what this moment allows you to do, and do all the work that you can, you know, on your own, building your own interdependence and your connection to God, to source. If you can find that daily fulfillment by yourself, if you can handle the ups and downs of life as a single person, especially living alone and, you know, dealing with it by, like, mostly leaning on your own, you know, relationship to God, you develop a strength and a sense of peace and fulfillment in yourself that is unmatched by what someone else brings or takes away from the picture. So when you find that fulfillment with or without someone, it's like you're completely liberated, because nobody can own you, because you know that you have the ability to walk away if they're not making your life better, if they're not adding value to your life, if you're not growing together, then there's no real reason that you should be together. You should be able to, every single person, and if you're in a relationship right now, listen to this especially, everyone should be able to have enough independence at any given time to be able to leave a relationship and take care of themselves. You should never be trapped inside of a relationship because you don't have the financial means to move out and get your own place or move in with someone until you can do that. So if you are, say, in a relationship and you're thinking, I don't want to be in this any longer, but like I don't know how to turn my life inside out, then if I were you, I would start like doing everything you can to do your own inner healing and create independence and stability for yourself. If you can do that, that might alleviate some of the problems within the relationship that you're in. Because when we're codependent on others, it just like the attraction and the respect begins to erode. And it becomes like this weird sort of like cycle of bread of shame and like resentment, and then just like back and forth. And so it's better to solve, or at least know how you've been codependent and try to alleviate those issues or get to know them so well that you recognize the triggers when they come up, so that at least you can recognize it, pause, and attempt to control your behavior instead of being reactive. Go check yourself before you wreck yourself, and get in another state before you address the issue. Like, think about it and feel like, let your feelings pass and get into a state of reason before you take any action or you do anything. You don't want your addictive codependency to be dictating your actions, because everything that happens from there is going to keep you in the loop of codependent relationships. Okay, so true love is coming. We've worked on healing the codependency. We'll get more into that with our tarot deck, but let's first grab 2 more cards from the Romance Oracle. Chemistry. Okay, so something's coming. There's going to be chemistry there. So the more chemistry there is, the harder it is to overcome like attachment styles and codependency tendencies. So try your best to not let the chemistry blind you from the truth, or letting the chemistry weaken your boundaries, right? Because the stronger your boundaries are, the more someone will respect and value you, and the deeper their feelings can be for you, rather than like rushing in. Like, right, like maybe that codependency is, I'm like, I've got all this chemistry, all these feelings, I'm rushing in, like, let's just be, together all the time. And both of you are like, mutual about it. And then you sort of lose your own routines and your own identity and your own, like, you let, your relationships kind of fall away, and you stop going to these classes and everything. And so then you start to self-abandon, right? Just lost in the excitement of it all. So trying to keep your feet on the ground, even in good times and in good, perfectly good relationships. When we see these codependency, we think of these like, dark, twisted, narcissistic relationships. And sometimes it's just like, I'm so happy I want to be with this person all the time. And then you forget about all the things that really keep your love tank full on your own, right? And then you forget, you let those slip away and they become distant, and then you don't realize that you've abandoned yourself. I got further away from home base than I thought. And then you become needy, on this other person for their validation, for their attention, for their time, for, all of that, those things. It's like you're not able to like satiate yourself anymore like you used to. Okay, and one last card. Wow, this is like, it feels like it's really preparing us for something soon. Like, when you are on a roller coaster and it's about to take off and they're like, all right, make sure your like belts are down and the buckles are down and everything. Give your relationship a chance. Work on this partnership. So something's happening. There may be like, okay, so if you are in a relationship currently, keep working at it. Don't think that by leaving it, you're going to escape the problem that you're facing. Face those problems first. But let's address if you are not in a relationship and you're single. Don't let yourself shut down out of fear, and not give people a chance. Like, open your heart. If you are certain they're a no, then don't force yourself to give someone a chance. But if you're just like gonna write someone off because you're being a little like maybe dismissive or presumptuous, or you're projecting, or you might be judgmental, or you have a limiting belief, give it a chance. Also give yourself a chance to have a successful relationship. And part of that is being intentional from the beginning, not strategic, not playing games, but being conscious and self-aware so that your reactive nature and your impulses and your attachment styles and all your performer stuff isn't like at the driver's seat, right? Give yourself a chance to have that relationship that you envision, for yourself by like learning about relational intelligence. Don't learn about the ways to like get him hooked or whatever. Like read books about how to have like good relational intelligence, good relationship skills, good, it's like there's so much noise out there right now. And yeah, you might be able to like integrate some of these tactics to get what you want, but then once you've got it, you won't be able to sustain that relationship. It's just going to be like, oh, I just have these like superficial games, but there's nothing under the surface. Like I don't have any relationship skills or emotional intelligence beyond that. So work on yourself. Do things that give you eternal value and cut out the things that are kind of sucking your energy and resources but don't give a lot in return. All right. So yes, don't get, so another thing about giving your relationship a chance, give yourself a chance to have a good relationship. Don't rush getting physical. People get really excited, they rush getting physical and intimate, and then what they don't realize is that whilst females bond during physical intimacy, and if a female gets physical early on, that doesn't mean that she can't take a man seriously. Probably just the opposite. But if a man gets gets physical with a female early on, then they categorize them differently. They don't take them seriously for the long run. It actually kind of disqualifies them. And yes, everyone has like a handful of friends who like did it on the first date and they got married like 2 weeks later, and they were all drunk and it all worked out in the end. But like that's not really the way that evolutionary biology and psychology works. And so like people are primarily hardwired to kind of react to certain things, so just in certain ways. And so it's more probable that you'll get the relationship that you want if you take your time with things. And that's just not only physically, but like letting someone in as a priority and letting them into your time and your attention and all of that. Like take your time. Let's vet someone, don't just give them all of this. They have to earn that time with you and that access. Okay, and then they'll appreciate you more and they'll value it more, rather than trying to be an open book and like, oh, I want to be authentic, I just don't want to play any games. But then you go like too open and it's too easy and there's no chemistry there. Okay, we've got the Sun card with true love. The Sun is like the best card in the deck, basically. It's like new vitality, beautiful, new, fruitful, successful things happening. The vibrations are shifting into very positive and abundant and fulfilling, themes. And so good things are happening. So the Sun card coming up with true love, that's like a double emphasis that yes, your love life is going to be shifting soon, so you better use all the training and the wherewithal that you have in self-control and in emotional intelligence and relational intelligence to navigate this, so that you can be yourself and be authentic, but keep healthy boundaries and still, have the chemistry, the flirtation, the attraction, all of that without being, manipulative. Okay, so what do we need to know about codependency? Success and growth. This is, let's see, what would this be in this deck? This is 8 of Wands. So this is forward movement and progress. This is lots of flurry of opportunity and good busyness. This is lots of communication and travel. So you could be messaging with, some people soon. You could be traveling to go see someone, or they could be traveling to see you, or you could be taking trips soon. But either way, there's like a lot of activity and back and forth. So even though like sometimes travel doesn't really, it's not like doesn't apply to everyone in every situation, but certainly like you can imagine, you know, when you really like a person and they really like you, and you're like messaging back and forth, and there's not really a lot of like, oh, you know, I'm gonna try to be super aloof, you know, you're just like, you've got like a rhythm and you have like a repartee. That's kind of that energy. So as things take off though, just remember not to slip into that codependency of neediness or anxious attachment, right? Don't rush into something because you want to fill a void and you're tired of being independent, right? Or you're scared of being independent. Because a really, really, really amazing opportunity could be coming. But what I was going to say earlier is that it seems like the not as great things show up first, but the highest vibrational things show up later. And it's like you're kind of flooded with all of these lesser options first, and it's kind of the universe's way of testing you and vetting you and growing your self-worth and your threshold, because you can say no, this isn't it, ooh, this is it, right? Chemistry and the lovers. So this is great. New like love is coming in, it feels like, could be true love. Careful to make your choices from the heart and not from chemistry. So remember everything that we were talking about earlier in vetting someone against your compatibility, right? Like, do you have the same goals and values? Do you have compatible, compatibility in that way? Do you have like, do you want to be together long term? Do you have that kind of chemistry? Is it just attraction, right? So don't let yourself get too spun up and drunk on chemistry and make an impulsive choice that could cost you like a very high value option maybe shortly around the corner. So just be like a harsh like casting agent or casting director, right? Think about it. Think about being like, imagine that you're like a director like Martin Scorsese, and you know that you've got like an Oscar-winning script on your hands, but you've got to be really, really choosy in casting your leads, and it can't be someone that's been overexposed, and it can't be like a total unknown and inexperienced, but it could be an unknown, and it's like, ooh, like, and you want them to be a certain way, you don't want them to be like totally expected, and oh, we've seen this person in this role so many times, so it's like you want to cast that role with just the right person. So make your decisions from your heart of hearts. Tune into your intuition and let that guide you, and don't feel rushed. Take your time. Okay, and then let's see, give your relationship a chance. These two cards were together. And so we have sadness and isolation, which is 3 of Swords, and we have believe and succeed, which is 6 of Wands. So what I feel like this means with give your relationship a chance is don't rush into something with a warm body because you feel lonely and isolated, and ruin your chances at meeting someone who is exactly what you've always wanted, but maybe you hardly even believe it's possible anymore. So believe in the most wildest possibilities, and do not settle for something that's not really like equally yoked with you, or it's not quite right just because you are lonely and isolated. Don't let something look better than it is, or more enticing than it is, or more compatible than it is just because you are lonely and isolated. Have you ever gone to the grocery store hungry? I mean, you can go to the grocery store well fed with a very rigid list and with every intention not to get any extra treats or impulse purchases. And it is very, very difficult. So think about that too in terms of being starved as a soul, right? And as a body and as a heart, and as a spirit. It's like you want this person in your life. When you're really ready for a soulmate, it's not just the same kind of like boredom as wanting to go out and like talk to and like flirt with some F boy or F girl, right? It's not the same thing. Or even like, I mean, that's the worst case scenario, but like even just thinking like, oh, I wanted somebody to go hang out with. I want to go on dates or whatever. Like that's like superficial, and it can be like, oh, I'm annoyed, I'm bored, I'm a little bit lonely. But like when you're like, okay, I'm ready for the soulmate, like I am ready to share and grow with someone, and you're like, I feel stagnant until like I find this person. Like you can start getting into a very scarce mindset and a very lonely, isolated mindset and perception, and that can get you feeling needy and desperate, which is repellent. So, that's why it's so important to overcome codependency, because you don't need someone else to make you feel the company of being not alone. You can feel alone in a crowd of people. You can feel alone if you have your whole family around you. It's not something that other people satiate for you. And when you learn that and you learn how to overcome isolation and loneliness by yourself, then you're completely free. You're not needy at all. And that is very attractive to anything in the universe. So this could also help boost other goals and help you succeed in other things as well. All right, you guys, good luck out there this week. I hope that we're meeting hottie patatis over the holidays. And yeah, I hope y'all get to have some fun festive parties and cute outfits and cutie patooties on your arms. All right, ciao. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, then please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to be notified of when I drop content. Like the videos, comment, share them. Anything that you do helps these messages get out to other people who need them. So you watching a video and taking an action on it actually makes a positive difference in someone else's life.